Hello, good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time zone you find yourself in. I hope everyone's having a pleasant Sunday. A few people rolling in. I hope everyone's doing okay. As I said, thanks for the sub, Onosaurus, very much appreciated. AC, Emery, Queco, a few of the usuals. Glad you guys are here. Anyone who's not usual, welcome. We have been slowly, very slowly, building out a game from scratch in C++ and OpenGL. We're slowly getting there. Last stream, Wednesday, we added, I can't remember if we added I think we already had the dynamic lighting, but we added this UI, like Debug UI, so this allows us to, hang on, this allows us to change the color, but the mouse is not locked properly, so we can influence the game now through this, which is pretty cool. What I want to do today is basically finish off kind of what we started on Wednesday. It was a mad rush, as always, to try and get it done in the last few minutes of the stream. So there's some mistakes, that's a bit of tech debt I want to pay back early, get on top of that. So we're going to do a little bit of it's not a huge amount, just a little bit of refactor. I've got some notes, and then I think we'll probably extend the debug UI to be a little bit more useful today, and then we'll see what we get to. Mol2, thank you for the Prime sub, much appreciated. Yeah, we'll see where we get to, basically. I haven't really got too much of a plan for today other than to kind of finish off what we started last time. We are in the slow and ever relentless march towards model loading. Maybe we'll start that today. I don't know, there needs a bit of refactoring that. But anyway, I want kind of like this but better is kind of the end goal today. So let's just let's close that down. Set my window. Okay, so someone asked me how many lines of code it is. We've got about 2,000 lines of code so far, so that's pretty good. Like, I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't think it's too much. It's pretty manageable. So yeah, we're just going to start working our way through that. One of the first things to do, I'm not going to fully fix this today, but our source directory is a bit of a mess. I've just dumped every file in there, and at some point I'm going to reorganize those to be like not this, like not all the files in one directory, but yeah, clock's pretty good. There's loads of them out there. Pick and choose your favorite. I just happen to have clock already installed, and you just like go clock directory, boom, does it. So yeah, the UI was something called Dear ImGui. It's a very famous, like basically everyone who writes a game engine uses it. We're not writing a game engine, we're writing a game, but everyone who writes any sort of graphical tooling uses it. It's really cool because it is somewhat rendering backend agnostic in that it will output you draw commands or buffer or command lists for OpenGL or Vulkan or DirectX or Metal. So you kind of just arrange what you want. Well, I'll show the code later, and then at the end of it, it's just like here's like just going to draw it for you. It's kind of just it's so easy just to drop into any existing rendering pipeline, which is quite nice. Yeah. So. Yeah, but one mistake we made last time is I named that file wrong, so I think we should fix that first. Git move and fix that up, just because. So this might seem like weird boilerplate, but what I'm trying to do for this game is to not commit any code that I didn't write live. So that's why I'm kind of doing stuff like this. It's a little bit tedious, but it's part of the process. I do have a little experiment, in like another branch offline, just to kind of maybe play around with a few things, but every line of code that ends up in the final game, if we ever get there, should have been written live. That's my plan. So this now won't work because we would have changed the name of the files, so I've just got to go and find these. So what we should be able to do is just search for mouse button event, find all the places I included it. Is it just... It's only in like 3 places. Mouse button event. Mouse button event. Dot. Ooh, nope, didn't like that. Mouse button event. And then SG mouse button event. Not quite sure what happened there. Window. Hello? Where's my window gone? Fine. Not quite sure what happened there, but we'll quickly fix that. Window. Edit anyway. I'm sure it's fine. Mouse button event. See if that works. And hopefully we'll end up back where we started. So good first feature. Then we're here, and now you can easily see that we can change the color. One that I'm going to unhook one of the first things we're going to do is unhook the Debug UI from the mouse so that the camera doesn't move when you're interacting with it. So you can kind of press a button to bring up the debug overlay, and that will effectively disable the mouse, because this is a pain. No one's having a good time with this. Just commit that up super quick. So let's see, so commit rename file. Okay, cool. So I think the next thing is, I think we can probably what did I have in my resize? Yeah. Okay, fine. I think we can probably treat ourselves now to a slightly larger game window, because 800 by 600 is pretty small. Is UI ImGui? Yes, it is. We'll go through that in a minute, because we're going to want to do some extra bits and pieces with that. There is no CPU file for that. Oh, that's an excellent point. I bunged it all in the for time. What was it? Mouse button event. I think I bunged it all in the header file. Yeah, so that's a good point. Let's just move some of that over to the well remembered button. Mouse button event. Namespace game. This is just going to bring this over super quick. 5G. Bring that over here. Bring that over here, and then just do in mouse button event. And then X. Stick that in there. Y, because I gotta stick that in there. State, stick that in there, and then I'd be interested to know, is anyone else? I don't really know like how people consume these streams. Are people working on their own stuff while they've got this on? Do I have your like full and undivided attention? It's kind of interesting. Because I can't imagine me chatting is particularly conducive to a great, great concentration. Let's just have this formatted super quick. Mouse button event, mouse button event, and then this is a mouse button event, objects, obj y, and then we need to have one for the state as well. Mouse button state. Sorry, a bit of boilerplate, but it will be done shortly. And then we can just do over this switch on obj like that, and then we can do using enum game. Oh, we've got lots of text coming in. I'll get to those messages in just a minute. Mouse button state case. String, no. Auto, actually no, nope, change my mind again. Get there in a minute. I'm just gonna reuse what we've got here. So let's just move this up a bit. And then bring that down to up, and then down, and then just return up. And then D3F that way. Oh, too many. fu down, fu down, and then I guess just like default unknown. If we get ourselves into a really weird state. Okay, so now we should be able to pass in the obj.state, and that should all just work. I say with absolute confidence, even though it almost certainly won't. Just quickly bung that into the steady f button event. Right. Let me just check that blends and then check I've saved everything, so that's my usual trick, and then I'll go back through the through some of the chat messages. Okay, that still works, so we can still get a red light. Okay, let me just so yeah, some people working on doing their own projects alongside, some people just hanging out. That's cool. Yeah, I get it. Energy can kind of be a bit low at this time of day. Someone's pointing out there might be an issue with the SDB image loading. Quite possibly we did have an issue with that, with the channels. We were requesting the wrong number of channels, so that was fixed. I mean, I'll go back and check the code later, but I mean, it's definitely working at the moment in the sense that we are loading an image and rendering it. Like a bedtime story for you. That's great. I'm glad I can help. Isn't a mouse button event also a mouse event? I track them differently. So a mouse event just takes the delta from the mouse move from the last time it was captured, whereas this is just the current position on the screen and the state of the mouse button click. So it's just it's easier to track them separately because I need to pass just one of those into ImGUI to get it to work. So it might kind of make sense to keep them separate. But good question. Always be double checking my workings. The inadvertent modern C++ tutorial segments. Yeah, I like those as well. Okay, right. So that now works. So let me just. What did I change? Just stage that, and that. And what we'll do is we'll just amend that commit, I think. Nailed it. Okay. Okay, so what I was actually saying is I think we can now forward ourselves. Well, actually, let me just have a quick look at this this texture load that you were talking about. So the question was, when you do the load from memory, it wants 3 pointers because SPI is going to return the width, height, and channels to you. It doesn't want them passed to it. Interesting. Okay, fine. So I think the precondition of this function is what you're saying is that it doesn't actually matter what the value of these are as long as they are valid pointers to memory. So I guess we don't actually technically need to set them here, which makes sense because the mistake I made was originally was thinking, oh, I can request the number of channels, i.e. 3, and it will give me that, whereas actually it was ignoring that and just saying, here is the number of channels you've got. I guess doing it this way still allows me to kind of verify the data work, like the function passed. These could technically be 0 initialized. I'm not that fussed. I think it's probably fine, unless we think it is confusing. So let's just check that works. And if that does work, I think you got a good point. I think that's semantically clearer because someone coming to the code would be like, hey, why have you set these? Yeah, okay, that still works. Okay, fine. Let's just quickly commit that out. So commit 0 initialize STBI variables. Is it STBI? Yeah, STBI variables. Cool, nailed it. Nice one. Good spot. I like it. Glad someone out there is paying attention. Okay, right. So now we can get on to what I was trying to say earlier, which is I think we can afford ourselves a little bit more space. As in, like, let's go, because that window's going to get quite cramped as we add more. Oh my goodness, more debug stuff. So 1920U. Let's go full 1080p. Oh, I didn't spot that. That was I bet this will look really strange because I think we're using the size when we initialize some OpenGL chuff as well. No, good spot. Good spot. Thank you for bringing it out. Okay, so that is a bigger window, but those boxes look a bit funny to me. Look a little bit squashed. So I got a feeling that the window doesn't expose its dimensions. So I think we should definitely. I think we should just use that stood unit32t width stood unit32t height, and then we can do auto width const stood unit32t like that, width height, spell unit32t correctly. And then I'm just gonna height. I know someone out there had seen that. Let's open up window, go to the bottom, pop these in here. Maybe window, bang, and then dot, format it. Up we go, return height, and then, oh, I don't need that many heights. That's far too many. FH width. Make sure what is in the global namespace. Is that? Oh, I see. Sorry, someone was answering the question. I thought someone was saying. I thought for a second someone was suggesting we should do this, which I do not agree with. So 245. It's always good when people ask that because that question comes up a lot, but it means there's new people here, which I think is always good. So I'm more than happy for people to ask the same questions over again, or for new people to ask the same questions. Because, you know, just coming into this, I can understand why some of this might seem a little bit strange. Because we're using quite modern C++. I have my own particular style and preference and way of working as well, which is, you know, not everyone's style. So I do try and, you know, I want to keep it clear as we go along what we're doing. Okay, fine. Let's go back to main, and then there was another 800. So now we should be able to do, float. Fine. I bet that's why I didn't hard code them to start with, because I could not be bothered to do this static cast float window dot width and then height. Can that work? I hate relative line numbers. My brain can't cope with it. I need to be able to. I want to be able to see the absolute line number and jump to it. So it's just not for me. That. Okay. Boxes look a little bit happier, and now we can. All right, let's fix this because this is the worst. The boxes happy? I think they're happy. Happy boxes. And I guess for anyone who's kind of seen this for the first time, this is an ambient light, one directional light, 1 point light, and we've got a specular map on these boxes, so the image says which part should be shiny or not. So the wooden part doesn't reflect as much light, which is why you get this kind of nice metallic edge around it. Okay, right. Trying to commit stuff up as I go along today because I have a habit of leaving it all right to the end and then be like, oh no, that's a lot of committing to do. So bigger window. It's not perfect. I could be a little bit more diligent with the Git on this. I do agree, but I think it's enough to kind of get us going. Okay, so let's go back to the window because we have our window proc. So this is the function that Windows calls, well, we technically call when we get an event that the OS or someone has sent to the window, and we're handling here. This is how we handle the key ups and the keys down. We static cast the parameter to a key, and a key is just this. I've only kind of specified some of them because I'm not very much in the philosophy of this is only doing what we need at the time, and I probably didn't even need all these. I only really needed WSAD and escape, but I didn't want to sit there and type all these out. So for this, let's do hash include windows.h, and then we want to add here f1 equals vk f1. I think it'll let me do that. So basically, we press F1 and then the debug UI, pops in or pops out. So we can kind of just control that as we go along. Oh my goodness, lots coming in. What's the point of auto if you specify the type after it? It's just a different style. It's just a different way of coding. I just wanted to try it. I think the reason some people like it is because it is more consistent of this, everything kind of lines up nicely there. And also, I guess just generally, I'd prefer to do auto something equals something. That's just I find that keeps most of the code more consistent. So I guess it kind of fits into that. This comes up a lot, and I think I totally get it. This style was something that I didn't have an opinion on because I'd never used it before. So I figured I should use it to get an opinion on it. So far, I don't mind it. It's all right. So yeah, this is since C++11, I think, trading return types. And if you don't do this, then it becomes a template, and the compiler will figure that out based on the return type. I mean, not for main, that's a poor example, but by and large for functions. So that means also then if you're using auto for templates, then all your code, all your function signatures look very similar because you either specify a return type or you don't. I don't know. I think it's all right. Okay, so we can now get a key press. So let's do auto show debug equals false. No, let's start off with it being true. And then where do we render the UI? If show debug space these things out a bit because they're a little bit. All right, okay. So now all we need to the key, when we get a key event, it automatically sticks it into a map, so we can basically see if the key was pressed or not. So let's, how do I want to do this? I want to do it if it changes. I need to flip this. I wonder if I should just hard code it in here. It's a little bit gross, but let's do if most of this main is going to go away at some point when we actually come to build a game. I'm probably going to just chuck all this away and rewrite it. So I'm not too precious about the code in main. It's more just a way of testing stuff out. So if arg.key equals game key f1. Oh, no. And arg.state equals game.key state down. And I'm going to do up because you're not going to get multiple events for the same thing. It's not going to fire multiple up events, but it could potentially fire multiple down events if you hold it down for too long. Was it show? I've already forgotten what I've called it now. Show debug. Show debug equals not show debug. Let's see if that works. Yeah, just famous last words, just temporary. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so okay, I'm pressing F1, and it works. It does feel a little bit laggy because it's on the key up, but I think it's actually better. So now what we need to do is, if the debug is shown, we don't want to move. Where do we update the adjust yaw and pitch? Okay, so basically, if show debug. And I know it's wrong. If we don't, steady. If we're not showing the debug, then we want to be able to move the camera. So the idea is we should be able to freely move around 3D space and then hit the debug menu, and then that'll lock the camera into that position. We should still be able to strafe for now because we don't need other keyboard input. Okay, this looks good. So this is not doing anything, but I can freely change the color of this. I can pan and move around. I can move up, move down, and if I press F1, then nice, like it. And then I should hit F1, and then be like, okay, actually, no, I really wanted a red light. That's what I really wanted. Then move around. Okay, cool, get in there. Yeah, I know, because we've got VSync enabled, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, it's fine. It's a debug menu. I'm not too fussed. It's not for gameplay, you know. We're still a few streams away from that. I think what we really need before doing the gameplay is we need model loading, obviously, skybox probably, and a frame buffer render pipeline so we can have HDR, tone mapping, and gamma correction. I think once we've got those kind of three things in, I think we'll be at a point where we can start actually thinking about doing a game. I've got a couple of ideas for a game that I want to we'll probably just play around with some mechanics like live and then just like see what seems fun. Okay, so let's do commit better, so hide show debug UI. Nice, okay. What else did I have next? Let's go through and fix up some of the ImGui stuff that I don't particularly like. Have I thought about replacing CMake with a Zig build system? No, because, I mean, I don't know CMake, but I know it better than any other build system, and I don't really want, like, it's just a tool for me, and there's kind of, and it works, so I feel like there's not, there's no advantage, I think, for this project and for this stream in doing something different. So yeah. That's kind of my view on that. Oh, Emery is celebrating his 5 months of membership. Congratulations. I'm glad you've been here this long. I hope you're enjoying it. And apologies if that's not how you pronounce your name. Right, okay. Let's go to CMake, because there's one thing that I didn't do last time, which I wish I had, was basically I bunged all... ImGui doesn't have a CMake file, it's just a bunch of CPP files, so you have to build it yourself, and I just wanged it into the executable. But this means this inherits all the flags, and I don't want this. I definitely want to add library ImGui lib static. I just want to build this separately so I can have a bit more control over it. And again, this was sort of for the sake of brevity, I guess, last time. So we're going to want to do, before all this, going to want one of those. And then for game, steady, so close. ImGui lib. That's just going to want to have the ImGui sources. So ds space dot, and then target link. Oh my goodness, I've completely forgotten what the. I've just drawn a total blank. CMake link targets. Anyway, link. I've literally just forgotten what the target link libraries. Wow, that was embarrassing. Good job that wasn't live. Can we remove the image source? We can, yes. Good spot. Let's see if this blends. Reflection is going to be really interesting. The syntax is strange. It's like real like token soup. But I think there might be some fun stuff to do. If MSVC gets good reflection support, I definitely want to play around with it live. I think it might be fun to try and reflect out, like you have the vertex data structure and then reflect out of that all the parameters and like the OpenGL pointer attributes. I know vertex pulling is better, but I think that might be kind of fun. It'd be good, kind of an interesting use for it. Ooh. Okay. What's wrong with my Vim workflow? Why does it make you anxious? Yes, it's looking very like C++ 26 will get reflection. I mean, it's not been officially like anointed by ISO yet, but it's looking highly likely. Okay. Oh my goodness, what have I done? Hello, computer? Hello? Commit build ImGui as separate lib. Okay, so next thing I want to fix, which I don't like, is in the fragment shader. Oh, I set up color syntax highlighting for the GLSL files. I did that last stream, but I forgot to call it out because someone was rightfully complaining that it didn't have syntax highlighting, so I fixed that now. So what I don't like is these hard-coded values. Basically, point lights have this concept of like attenuation, so they should drop off over time. They should drop off over distance. But if you don't have any sort of numbers there, then the point lights are kind of really small and they were impossible to see. So we just stuck in some magic numbers, but I want to actually properly calculate those and pass those in as in the UBO, and then we'll actually wire those up to ImGui so we can then actually control them, and we should kind of see what they all do then. So basically what we're going to need is a vec3 attenuation. Then somewhere in here we're going to want let's do float distance equals length of point minus frag position dot xyz, and then the float at, I'll call it at because I've already got attenuation there. I know I could scope this better, but you know, this is the life we've got. It's 1.0 over the attenuation.x plus the attenuation. Basically, there's a constant, a linear, and a quadratic component, which we'll basically encode into the three parts of the vec3. So that should kind of give us what we want. So that's times distance, and then attenuation.z times distance times distance. I think that's right. My brackets balanced? No, they are not. Okay. So GLSL uses American English, so that's why it's just, I have no control over that, and I don't particularly fancy writing a processor script, which means I can write it in British English and then convert it. That sounds like a waste of time. I'm not hash defining normalize. I have X twice, no Z. You're right. Good point. Okay. Okay. So now this attenuation component goes away. This attenuation component goes away. Is that right? And then we do this is also sort of part of this weird attenuation component. So then we can do diff plus spec times attenuation times the point color. I think that's correct. I think we attenuate both the diffuse and the specular components, and then these will basically allow us to provide a constant, a linear, and a quadratic component, which we'll hopefully we'll see when we write out to ImGUI how those affect the whole thing. This is another magic number we need to get rid of. This is like the shininess of the material. This needs to be This needs to go into. I don't even know where it needs to go into, because it probably needs to go into a separate. In the Blin-Fong model, you normally have like a material struct which says like how like diffuse and shiny and stuff is. So you should reset that in at some point. At the moment, 32 is like a pretty good number, but good spot. I did say I'm going to get rid of some magic numbers, but I'm going to leave this in here for the moment because probably requires a bit more plumbing to find a good place to put that in, and we don't need to change it at the moment. Okay, right. Jochen Jack, how have you pronounced that? Prime sub, thanks very much. Much appreciated. Much appreciate it. Okay, right, so now we need to go to let's go to the scene object. So this just super simple, it's just a collection of all our things. And then we can do here float const attenuation, and then linear, and then quad attenuation. So this is just the information we need to provide for the point light. So main will be a bit grumpy now because we've not put these in, but that's fine. We'll do that in a second. What's more important now is to make sure we get it into the renderer. So the renderer has its own light buffer, and this is packed and aligned such that it matches to how OpenGL is expecting it. And I've kind of deliberately kept these two things separate. This is a semantically clearer representation because it uses engine primitives, and I think is just, you can sort of, it doesn't worry about the layout of the memory. It's just like, here's the position, color, and the various attenuation parts. Here is where we say, oh, this is how it actually needs to be laid out in memory. You could possibly combine them, but for the moment I have chosen to keep them separate. So at the beginning of each tick we construct this from this, which I guess is slightly not the most efficient, but I think I kind of prefer that separation of like game specific layout and then graphics card specific layout, because when they do differ, I'd rather talk in a simpler form, if that makes sense. How often do I commit to Git? Still having trouble committing regularly. Sometimes I forget to commit for a couple of days. I mean, you just gotta. I couldn't tell you how to make it a habit other than kind of like doing it. I think for me, it's good to know. It's good to know kind of like what the benefit of committing early and often is, and that for me is if you have small atomic commits where as much as possible each one checks out and builds, it makes debugging so much easier because you can use stuff like git bisect. You can easily walk through the commits. It's so much easier to revert a change. So I think once you kind of understand the benefits of doing it, that hopefully will encourage you to do it more, I guess would be my kind of example advice on that. Yeah, again, we'll probably end up integrating dirty bits later. I don't need it at the moment. I'm just keeping it simple. So annoy. We're gonna. Vector 3, although it doesn't actually technically. Oh no, no, that does matter. Also, at some point, I'm probably going to move away from UBOs and go to SSBOs, which means the alignment will change. So we'll see. It might be a more, a more a saner one-on-one mapping. You know, we got to make some mistakes on the way, though. Got to make some mistakes. I always say that Git is. It's hard to lose your work, but you can just make it progressively more difficult to recover it. That's kind of my view on Git. So dot, nope, dot attenuation equals where are we? Scene dot point dot const. So I'm just going to pack these into a an OpenGL vec3 effectively. I'm sure I'm missing some of that. Okay. So now main, this is going to be like, oh, you haven't. Oh Christ, what are all those? What are all these curly braces doing? I think here. Nice, nailed it. Const is usually 1. Linear is, so I've got a graph up here. Hang on, let me just show you what I'm cribbing from. If you go to learn OpenGL.com, it's got a set of these that are kind of make sense. But again, we're going to make it configurable through the UI, so we can have a play around with it and see what they do. But I think I want 0.07. Just moving the magic numbers somewhere else at this point. 0.017. Obviously, my favorite, one of my favorite floats. One of the best floats. That top float. Let's see if this works and still blends. What about my question? Sorry, your question has scrolled off, but now no longer it was. You'll have to repeat it, I'm afraid. I do try and answer as many questions as I can. I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes. I do miss stuff. Okay, let's. It does seem a little bit more like dull. But those could just be the values we picked. Let's hook them up to this. Right. So this is dear ImGui. You set up some stuff, and then you create a new frame, and then you basically just create things that you need. So we should be able to do ImGui float slider. Is it input slider float? And then so we might tell you what the arguments are for that, but apparently not. Take that. Okay, fine. I'll look it up. ImGui slider. I think it's a name and then 2. The address of where you want to stick it. Okay, so let's do linear, and then I'll stick into this scene dot point dot linear, and then we go between 0.0f and 1.0f. This will also default it, I believe, to the value that we set up in the main file. So let's just do, that's constant as well, isn't it? Constant, and then linear, quadratic, and then quad. Okay, just see if that blends. Have I considered making a game bot? No. It's probably a simple answer to that. I've not considered it. I don't know, maybe it would be fun, but it's not something I've kind of considered. If I had to describe this project so far as a particular fruit, which one would it be and why? I'm going to have to get back to you on that because I feel like it deserves some sort of witty answer, but I can't think of anything. Okay, so let's just see if we can... So yeah, this does indeed change the size of it. Hopefully you can kind of see that. I might stop it moving so it's easier to see. But yeah, that's cool. We can kind of influence that. And I feel like it's not as bright as it was before. I guess, oh my goodness, that's pretty bright. Let's bring that in. Let me just check that is correct in here. Because that seems a little bit dull to me. Take the length of the point to the fragmentation position. The attenuation is 1 over the x constant plus the y, the linear times the distance plus the quadratic times the distance squared, and then you mix that into each of the diffuse and specular separately, and I've already stripped those off, and then you times that by the colour. Okay, fine. I was a little bit surprised. It's just not a project that I've got enough, quite a lot at the moment. Like working on videos, I'll start working on the next video. That won't be till January now. And with streaming this twice a week, I don't have a lot of time for any extra projects at the moment. But it's interesting. Like I'll make a note of it. Did you need to do diff times at? Is that not what this does? If you multiply this out the brackets, is this not the equivalent to doing diff times at plus spec times at? Right? Isn't that how that's how like bracket expansion works, right? Or am I going mad? Have I made a fundamental maths error there? I just thought it would be brighter, but all right. Const linear quad, that gets bunged in the attenuation, that gets written. Oh, no, the light buffer is the right size because it's the size of this struct. No, it's fine. It's fine. It is late, but it's worth double checking. I think. I mean, whatever. Like it works, right? The quadratic has the most effect, so if we reduce that, and then we can constrain it a little bit with that. Maybe I'll tell you what we could do. So the numbers were yes, but because this does these divides them by 1, and these numbers are less than 1. No, because of the constant one. Once we mess around with the constant. I mean, I'll double check this. Like, I don't want to spend the whole stream kind of figuring out those numbers. Like, we still have a light, so I guess that's the main thing. Like I said, I was just a little bit surprised, but constant doesn't have a huge. Well, because these should have, in decreasing powers, less influence over it. That's not too bad. Okay, fine. We can mess around with it. I feel like we kind of lost the shine off the metal boxes a bit, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, there you go. Fine. If we really boost it, this color clamping here will fix when we do HDR. You see how it can't go above 1 in the R component, so it just clips to it, and you lose all the detail. We'll fix that in future. Right, I think we'll move on because there's other stuff I want to get onto. But that's actually, hang on, I'll tell you what we could do, because I know someone has been asking about this, is I think I was reading somewhere that where is it? Here. That's what I want. I think Debug UI automatically tracks frame rate for it. It does. Nice. Pretty solid. 60 FPS. What's that? Well, is it like 0.1? Is that the correct rune for that? I don't really use format string, like printf formats anymore. That's better. Okay, cool. Okay, we'll go back and fix that up later. So let's do correctly attenuate light. Correct subject to change in the future when we realise that we did it wrong. What I want to do now is I want to bring in another library. I know we're trying to not do too much. I want to bring in an ImGUI extension, which I think will be hopefully kind of fun. I've worked on a codebase before, which did stipulate you should use the colon namespace qualifier for everything in std namespace. It just looked and felt strange. Okay, let's go. Where is it? Right, so there is an amazing plugin for ImGUI called ImGuizmo. So let's just ImGuizmo. And you might, from the name, already be able to guess what it does, but I'm just going to start having a little bit of fun trying to wire it up, and then we'll see what we get to. Yeah, cross-compile it with the wine build of MSVC, because, you know, why not? Let's bring that in, and then ImGuizmo. And then from there, I need to add into here ImGuizmo GUI Gizmo source the ImGuizmo.cpp. Yeah, someone's already got it. Someone knows what we're going to do. I'll get it up because might ruin the surprise. Let's keep going. I'll write a little bit of code and see if people can figure out what I'm doing as I go along. Or you can just go and Google ImGuizmo and ruin it. Just for your particular issue there, I suggest maybe just lying down for a bit. Oh, what did I call it? Is it ImGuizmo? And then I'm probably going to want ImGuizmo source the what am I? What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's ImGuizmo. ImGuizmo. My favorite. Okay. Is it hard to abstract OpenGL because you're finding it a bit hard, especially for meshes things? It's abstracting anything is hard, right? Because you're effectively writing an interface, and writing interfaces is hard. So what I would suggest you do is kind of write OpenGL code in any file, and then just pick off bits that you find you have to keep repeating or in loops or kind of logically go together, and then just move those to a separate file. It's a skill as much as anything. It is called ImGuizmo. I think that is actually the name of the project. Yeah, ImGuizmo. Okay, fine. So now that I've got that, how do I actually start writing some of this chuff? We're going to need to go to our Debug UI. Close this down. Gonna need some sort of header. Hash include oh, interesting. Where's it exist? So I have some notes off screen because I've had a play around with this before. Is it not? Oh, of course it won't. It should just be ImGuizmo.h. It won't. Nope, that's not one. Stupid setup. Right, let's just check that builds. I don't think I've got an MSP for CMake. I probably should. Right, okay. Ooh. Debug UI. Okay, so let's have a look at this. I'm going to want to do... What do I want to do? So this is going to bring us some 3D components into our little ImGUI world. ImGuizmo set orthographic false, and then ImGuizmo begin frame, and then ImGuizmo enable, sure, so sounds like something we want to do, and then ImGuizmo set rect to be 0, 0 io dot display size dot x io dot display size dot y. Okay, fine. So this is setting up this tool that I've not really told anyone about yet, but just kind of give it the necessary details it needs to run. And then after, I guess, before all this, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna want to do ImGuizmo manipulate. And this has a whole, and this needs to take our Debug UI. This needs to take our, we need a camera for this, so let's put in a camera. Camera. And we'll store the camera. And I'll just wire this up super quick to the CTOR. And then I'm just gonna, sorry, this is just a little bit of boilerplate. We'll actually get onto the interesting bit in a minute. Alright, okay, so now I have access to the camera. What I can do is I can set the first one here to be the camera.view.data, and then the camera.projection.data. So again, these are the things that you need to be able to position something in 3D space. Isn't it annoying dragging that game window over to the main screen every time? No, because I like having it off screen, so then we can do like we can do a poll and a big reveal and guess whether it's going to work or not. I guess I could just not run it until that point, but I like, I don't know, I like the theatre behind it. This needs some magic operation called translate. And then ImGuizmo world translation. And now we need to basically, this is going to allow us to eventually move. This is going to allow us to control the model, like a model matrix of something. So, sorry, this is going to allow us to manipulate a matrix. Which we know we use to stick stuff in 3D space. So if I bring in our matrix class, and if I create a, auto translate equals matrix from the scene dot point. Don't know why my autocomplete has gone. So this is going to create a 4x4 matrix which represents the transformation required to move something to the position of the light. Okay, so now I need to data, everyone's favorite data. Oh no, wait a minute. Just translate data. No, it needs to be data. Okay, and then just a bunch of null pointers because I don't actually care about anything that comes after this. All right, see if that blends. I don't think it will. Okay. We deliberately, when we wrote matrix 4, we deliberately made this return const float because we don't want to provide... The interface that I wanted was for people to not dick around with the internal, like the specific matrix values. It should be going through operator star, so actually sort of well-defined matrix operators. I've kind of somewhat hoisted by my own petard now because I actually need this. I'm going to do something absolutely terrifying. This is not UB because I know the original data isn't const. This isn't const here, so I can technically remove the const from it. I wouldn't say you should do that, but for Debug UI code, because I don't really want to go and change the interface, it's probably, what's the bit of const cast on a Sunday evening? Oh, of course, actually I need to wire this into main. Our debug UI needs to have access to the camera. Thank you, compiler. Oh, actually, scrap that. I also want to get rid of this. And why I did that will make sense in a second. Okay. That's really upsetting. I was literally about to do that, and there's a Twitch ad break. But I think they can still see the screen. I just don't think they can hear me speak. Well, before I do the big grand reveal, I'll let that play out. Let's make this a little bit brighter. So you could make the constants of the span depend on the constant of the object, but I didn't want to provide element level access into the matrix. Like in my view, if you get given a matrix object, the only way you should be able to allowed to manipulate that is through actually well-defined matrix maths operations, i.e. multiplying it with another matrix. I didn't want the interface to be like, oh, you can set the 12th element to this, if you get what I mean. I've made a mistake. Anyway, let me just fix this. I just tried it out quickly and it didn't do what I wanted to do, and I know exactly why. So yeah, it's kind of like my choice. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it sure is what we've got. Okay, so actually after this matrix will have an updated matrix. So we should be able to do scene.point.position.x equals translate.data 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Everyone pick your favorite matrix index. These are some of mine. I believe in a column major representation, these are the translation components. 5 is a good one. Okay, fine. So now we get this little gizmo here. So if we make this a little bit up and we make this just, I know, a little bit brighter. Oh, look at that. We can move our light around in 3D space, and I think that is pretty cool. I think you actually can grab it by the plane and just move it along where it is, like that. Woo! Alright, I think that's pretty cool. And that was like import a library in like 10 lines of code and one terrifying const cast. So this is starting to feel like we could actually make something now, because we're like, okay. I just realised my camera is pointing in the wrong direction. I don't know if anyone can see this. If I take this, which in my mind is the x-axis, because it should go left to right, it's modifying the z, and then this one here is the x, and my camera is actually pointing the wrong way. I'll fix that later. It was when we switched to defining the camera in terms of like your pitch and roll, and I probably just didn't give it a good, I didn't give it the correct starting value. So we press F1, it should come back, and now we can move it again. That is pretty cool. I hope everyone can agree. Pretty cool. Basically halfway to an edge. I mean, it pretty much isn't it? So I feel that this is just a little bit dark still. I wonder if there's a bug in my maths. I'll have to go and check it later. But you know, we can now check this. Okay. Let's just comment this up. Commit move light. I think what we should do now is, because I don't think we're going to really get on time to do the model loading today. I promise we will get there. I think no, I've never coded on a Commodore 64. I'm not that old. Or maybe I am. When was the Commodore 64 around? I think we should have multiple lights. I think that would be kind of a nice way to end this, because I think that will kind of wrap everything up, and then maybe even the ability to kind of add more lights through the editor, and you know, we can kind of see what we get to. So adding multiple lights isn't too complex. What we need to do is we need to change the data structure we're using somewhat. So at the moment we're using a uniform UBO, uniform buffer object. If we change this to read only buffer, which is a shader storage buffer object, or an SSBO, this gives us access to the much better 430 layout. And then we can basically have struct point light, and then get rid of these, or move these three up to here, and then we can have int num points. And then basically what SSBOs allow us to do is to do this. Have an unsized array. So this means we can stick as many on here as we want, and we'll pass the size in as well, and then we're free to kind of like loop through these. So this is something that this read-only buffer gets you. The last element can technically be unbounded. So we can start off with one light and just keep adding more basically. So that means this will need to have an index, and then we'll have what are all our things that we need? We need float vec3 attenuation equals points index dot attenuation, and then we should have all the other points we need. Is it just point? I'm trying to keep them all the same name because it means we don't have to then change any of the other code. Point and then get there in a minute. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Point color, and then point color. Okay, so that should keep us where we were. Our first platform I coded on, this comes up a lot. My first programming language was PHP 4. So that'll hopefully carbon date me reasonably accurately. Let's just clamp this down for a second. So we're going to take the ambient light, the direction light. Let's do vec3. Let's do color equals that. Color plus equals calc direction. And then we should be able to do for int I equals 0, I is less than num points, I, and then do, hang on, let's just move this up first, so put that there, and then we'll do color plus equals calc point index, go that. So we should be able to just accumulate all those colors, and then at the end of this all we have to do is do color times the albedo, which we sample from the texture, and then bump that up to with a alpha component. 970 override. Yes, it does. What Oh, I mean, I've already done it. That's why. Thank you. I didn't realize I'd already put it in. Yep, that should be alright. Anyone else? Live code review. I do like it when, like, I feel like between the nearly 200 of us who are here across Twitch and YouTube, we should be able to figure this out. sorry, there are people talking about Commodore 64, and I am interested, but I'm also I was just kind of in the zone trying to get this done. This isn't commented out. This is just collapsed. This is just a Vim code fold. Okay, there's a bit more wiring we need to do. So the renderer. So the advantage of what we call it? The advantage of the stud 430 layout is that we don't need to worry with any of this alignment now for these components. So we can get rid of that, which is nice. And we should have a struct point light, which will take D30. Oh no, wait a minute. No, it is still. Oh, the vec3 is still aligned. Sorry, we can replace. We can unalign them by declaring them as float arrays, but I'm actually not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of keep it simple today. But there's an optimization here where we could do float ambient 3, and that would remove the need. There's some weird legacy thing where this still gets aligned to a vec4, but an array of 3 floats doesn't. Oh wait a minute, no, actually, am I being silly? Can I? I'm gonna leave it as is, just because I want to get it done. One of those things we go back and fix up at a later date, I think. But there is an opportunity there to better pack our data because we're using SSBO. This comes up a lot as like, why not Vulkan? And I just think Vulkan is so unbelievably complex, like way more complex than OpenGL, because it gives you so much more control. And I don't think in how many streams we've been doing now, 10 or 12, we'd be nearly this far along if we were doing it in Vulkan. So for me personally, it is simpler and it's still pretty powerful. Just because it's not getting any new updates doesn't mean it's not still valid. So. So the problem with using attribute packed is you can't. I don't think that will guarantee the same packing requirements that OpenGL has. Whereas here I can explicitly specify what they are, which I think is it's not just the fact that I don't know if packed is the equivalent to the stud 140 or stud 430 layouts. I suspect they're not, which is why we kind of need the specific control over it. Yeah, I mean, like Vulkan's a nightmare, right? Okay. Struct point light that, and then we'll just take these out. This will become position, and I think we can just change this to color. And then, yes, okay, then we will do int num points, which won't need to be aligned. Okay, and this will need probably the same warnings because it was being a bit silly with it. It was playing silly buggers with us last time. Let's just copy those in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write this out, and then we're going to write a series of these out. So I guess like the question is like, how big do you make the buffer? I'm just gonna give it like quite a bit of size. We will tune this later. I just want to make sure that I've definitely got enough bytes to bung a load of these in. We will definitely tune this later, but again, we're only doing one light buffer per scene, so I'm not too worried about it being a little bit overfitted at the moment. Can OpenGL be used in Rust? I assume Rust has. I've never programmed in Rust. I assume it has C bindings, so I can't see why not. So we just need to change our scene now. So the scene should have a vector point light, call it points.
Did you mean glide hexa?
Oh my goodness, the Alexa's talking to me, that's terrifying. No, go away.
Did you mean glide hexa?
Alexa, stop. Absolutely terrifying. Where was I before the Home Assistant started talking to me? No, it's weird in OpenGL. There's very specific requirements depending on the layout type that you choose, or you can just let the driver pick, and then you can query the specific alignment for specific types. But yeah, most people just use the predefined layout ones. Right, after that interlude, so we've got a bunch of points. So now we don't need this. Let me just. Probably going to want this though, right? Just send dot num lights equals scene dot points dot size. So this will write. Hello, Sam. Glad you're here. So this will write the size into the num points, which then we can pick up in the shader. So now we just need to write the point lights. So what we'll do is we'll do for const auto point in scene.points. We will do a oh no, I mean actually I want to maintain the existing offset we've got. So let's, that was nearly a bug. What we'll do is we'll continue writing here, and then we'll do let's be more specific. Let's call this point light buffer. Okay, and then 84G we can do point light buffer auto point light buffer equals point light buffer, and that's going to be dot position equals point dot position dot color equals point dot color, and then dot attenuation equals point dot let's just steal. I knew I left that around for a reason. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Symptom G. What I wanted. Take that. Take that. Okay, so we construct that in there, and now we can just do writer dot write point light buffer. So this should write each individual light out into the SSBO. Yes, there is pretty much one reason why I use NVim over VS Code with the integrations is that tmux. I'm yet to find a good integrated terminal workflow that kind of matches Vim plus tmux. So that's kind of why I use it. You miss? Well, I'm glad you said you missed. Didn't realize I was streaming. Yep, stream twice a week. Oh my goodness, what fresh hell is this? Have I accidentally? Okay, that looks a little bit saner. Let's drop this out. That is almost certainly that is 100% a casting issue. I'm just gonna fix that ahead of time. Okay, so we write all of our lights out with all of our data. We have them in there. So then we just have to bind this as a shader source buffer, an SS. Is it? Yeah, an SSBO, a shader storage buffer object. So that should be enough. Let's just check this now needs to be a vector, which I think we can just sort of just keep adding more curly braces until it thinks it's a vector. Oh, nope, steady, wrong place. Points equals. Just keep adding more curly braces until it works. And then the debug layer is also going to be unhappy. Yep. So what we're going to do is we're just gonna comment this out. Point is not a member of game scene. You are correct. Where was that? Oh, still in the debug UI. Where have I? Oh, there. Okay. Oh yeah, all this as well. Okay, so I think we've still got our light. I think it's still there. Yeah, I can just about see it. Let's prove to ourselves this works by adding some more lights. So where is this? Here. Oops. Is it that one? So and then 85G. Gonna make this even smaller, I think, just to give us a little bit more brightness, and then we'll make this one, I guess, slightly more red, and we'll stick this on a different point on the x-axis. Is that two lights? Kind of. Let's make the other one like green. And then 82G R0 5 R0. Make that a 1, and then make that a 0. I mean, there's like everyone's like workflows theirs, right? And I'm sure there's ways of that looks like two lights to me. There's definitely ways of doing all this in most editors. I just quite like this workflow. You know, it works for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to work for you. That's cool, right? Two lights. I think that's pretty cool. I think what we're going to need to do now for the last sort of, I don't know, little bit of the stream is to hook all that up to the Debug UI so we can manipulate all those values, so we can move them around, check the colors, and I think that basically allows us to build quite a nice, quite a nice, you know, interesting scene, and then we're pretty much set up then for doing whatever we need to do next. Oh, we need to do normal maps as well at some point. I just need to. I'm kind of curious why that's so dark. I really would expect it to be brighter. Let me just double check some notes I've got on this. Because, like I said, I would expect that to be slightly brighter. Color indexed. 1.0 divided by the attenuation of x plus the attenuation of right-hand distance plus the attenuation of z times distance squared. And this, yeah, so okay, fine, not the end of the world. Very bizarre. Sorry, not. I appreciate this is not the most interesting part of me just staring at the screen confused. That is the correct attenuation formula, and those values I've used in previous messings around, and they normally give them pretty good results. I'm just very surprised that it is so low. I just feel like I've got a bug somewhere. Const, linear, quadratic. Okay, fine. Maybe it's just not meant to. Let's check one more thing. No, fine. Okay, no mind. We'll just adjust the values. It's not getting us any closer to where we want to actually be, which is Debug UI. Let's make the gizmo is a bit of a pain. We'll do that in a minute. Let's just do this first. So this needs to be const for auto point in scene dot points. So we're going to want one of these per light. Yeah, sorry, clicking my neck is a terrible habit I have. We're going to want one of these per light. So destination will be color. The source will be the address of point dot color. Yeah. So this will default, because we've not actually technically had this until now, the default value of the color picker. So that, and then we're going to need some string formatting. Oh my goodness, what is up with these headers? Let's do const auto picker name equals color stud format. Nope. We'll get there in a minute. Frame ranges, obviously, and now for auto index point in scene dot points stud views enumerate. That's what we want. And now we can format this as color index, do const auto const name equals stud format constant index, and then we can just do const linear get it in the end, quad, and then quadratic. We've done the fall off fact. Yeah, that's what we were doing earlier on. We've set the attenuation, but for some reason it doesn't feel right. But maybe I'm just second guessing myself. And then this will need to be like that. Set those back, and then CT that will be const name.cstra CT linear dot name dot cstra, and then finally quad name dot cstra, and then we can just do scene df dot print those, get rid of those. Okay. My apologies that you have the flu and are struggling to keep up. I mean, C++ is the cure for all ills, so hopefully this will make you feel better. Okay, fine, let's just see if that blends. Cannot. A non-const reference may only be able to. Oh, is this the weird thing with the weird oddity with enumerate, that you have to declare it const, but the thing you get out is not technically const? I think it's a weird oddity. Like that. Okay, and it's got the predefined colors, so now we should be able to do. Like, oh, actually, no, I wanted that more blue. I wanted this more, I don't know, cyan, a bit darker, and then I actually wanted this a little bit. Yeah, this doesn't seem as bright as I was expecting it to be. Like that should be, that at 0 should be really, really bright. It should be taking up almost the whole thing. So the fact that it's not is quite strange. Yeah, a constant tuple of non-const references, obviously. If the fact that this constant here doesn't propagate is just for the tuple and not the thing inside it, it just always looks strange to me, because to me this feels like I should be getting a constant reference out, but tuples are weird, and structure bindings are weird in the language anyway. The debug code, I'm not fussed. It works, and you know, it's just a weird quirk of the language. But I think that works all right. That seems to work all right. Again, I'm very confused about the brightness of this thing. I might just... let me just remove that, and then I'll just double check that in our render doc, because it seems a little bit strange to me. Hang on, I need to move the assets in, don't I? Just check those assets are in there. They are. Come on, that argument. Assets. Launch. Okay. F12. Capture the frame. Close it down. Quick inspect. Is the brightness issue to do with the normals? I mean, possibly. I don't correctly transform the normals from the vertex to the fragment shader, but that I believe only applies when you're doing a non-uniform skew, which I'm not. So let's have a quick look at the color path. So let's find one of these boxes we're drawing. Okay, fine. So you can see here where it's rendering. This is the draw calls for all these boxes. Let's pick this one here. Pipeline state, rasterizer, nope. Fragment shader. Oh, this seems angry. Why is this angry? $144 bytes needed, 40 provided. Have I padded something wrong? White. Possibly. That seems like this isn't padded correctly because there's 4 bytes missing off the end, but I'm not too worried about that. Let's have a look at this. So we've got 2 lights. Those seem fine. And then these are the values we set. I don't know. Anyone else see anything wrong with that? It looks perfectly cromulent to me. These do look like our attenuation values for the 2 points that we have. But it just seems strange. I'd also expect the lights to accumulate more together as well. They seem quite, even next to each other, they seem quite dull. Okay, maybe I just need to adjust the linear a bit as well. Let's bring that down. Bring that down as well. Okay, fine. You can make it quite bright. I'm surprised how like sensitive that is, and again, not really super bright. But they do. I guess they do combine because they do have the yellow there. I guess this will give us like a purple. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, fine. Again, I'm going to try not to stress too much about it. The 4 bytes missing is almost certainly from where we do this. This is expecting another byte on the end because this here uses std 140 layout, which is what I was saying earlier. So the vec3 is aligned to 4 bytes, 4 elements, so 16 bytes, and I'm only technically giving it 12 here, only giving it 3. So it's like, oh, you've not given me the last 4 bytes, but I don't bother because I don't actually care. That error would go away if we did that, but I'm not going to because it's fine. Yeah, that's a good point. We could we could change that. So what do they recommend? It should go from like 0.0 to like 0.1. There's no color correction on any of this. Like the camera's dumb. It doesn't do anything like that. There's nothing like that. So I guess the linear needs a similar level of clamping. I don't know. Okay, fine. How do I... So the last thing to do is I just want to be able to move all those lights around, basically. So that's, I think we actually want to move this now under here before the render, because now I know from previous experience you can ImGuizmo only really likes having one gizmo active at once. I think it's got some weird like internal static state. So I think what we'll do is we will just have it so we can only select one at a time, and we'll start off probably. I guess we just start off with the first, assuming there is one light. Just start off with the first one selected. So. What's the best way of doing this? And if we select, we'll just use the color picker to change. So if we change the color, it will then select that one. It's not a great, oops. It's not a great UI. It's not a great user interface or user experience, but it will get us kind of going somewhere. And then from here, what we can then do is we'll do auto point equals scene dot points. What did I call it? Light selected point. Select point, and then here this just should become point and point. I think that might be enough. Yeah, we'll make the UI better as we need to. At the moment, I just want to kind of get it so we can move some stuff around. Of course, yes, that does make sense. Let's do. Can I just, is that going to be enough to satisfy it? What's on line 78? Okay, fine. Well, we'll just do std size t. In fact, actually, we'll just zero initialize that. Always winning, every time. Never a moment I'm not winning. Okay, right, so now if we zoom out a bit, so we should be able to move the green light around, which we can, and then if we change the color of this red one, we can then move the red light one around. That's pretty cool. That's really nice, I really like that. So we can move the red one here. I know we have to kind of click the color to do it, it's not ideal, but you know, it's kind of good enough to get us going. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And then we can do F1 and we can freely move around. Be like, oh, actually over here. Bring up the debugger. Press that. Move this light around. So, yeah. I did have Windows Nightlight on as well, which was dulling the colours. I think that was part of the problem on my end. It's still not quite as bright as I would have hoped, but we can. Because you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. There you get the combined colour, which is cool. So we can put these behind whatever is like these, like the equivalent of these drop-down menus, so we can collapse them. What I do want to do as the last, I don't know, I keep saying it's going to be the last thing, we'll see, is do if ImGuizmo, ImGui button add light, and then we'll do scene dot points dot pushback scene dot points dot back. Right, we'll just duplicate the last light because that'll add it to the editor anyway, and then we'll just make that selected point equals scene dot points dot size -1u. I know that doesn't exist yet. 2dd and then 58gp, move that there. Okay. Let's see what happens. Probably some sort of level editor that allows me to build whatever game I'm building. Whether I kind of release that and it's useful to anyone else, who knows? Right. Alright, nice. I got these lights. Look at them all. Maybe it is accumulating light, right? That's pretty bright. I don't know, that's handling 16 lights at a pretty solid 60 FPS. Let's just keep going. The scene is so simple, like it could easily handle probably hundreds of lights in this like very dumb forward renderer. I'm not expecting it to like really struggle with any of this. So we're up to 102 lights and still getting a pretty solid 60 FPS. The scene is totally blown out and washed out, but you know, there we go. No, I didn't build the. I will admit that I didn't build this. I did use a third-party library for this because it's the one everyone uses. That's pretty cool. We can add lights. Obviously, there's no way of removing them. There's no way of like selecting individual lights easily, other than going through and finding them all. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not an artist or a graphic designer, so I have a rough understanding of the maths, and then I've just implemented the maths. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. By the way, these null pointers here allow you to, or at least some of them do allow you to implement snapping. So if you only wanted to move the light along in sort of like along a grid, say on like 5 pixels at a time, then you can kind of use these to do that, which is pretty cool. Lights for the for loop. I think that would die pretty quick. Is there anything else I kind of wanted to do today? Let me just check my notes. Multiple lights, model loading ? No. We could go through and maybe optimize some of the. Now that we've got something working, we can maybe go through and optimize some of these, so we don't have to have quite such mad alignment. Oh, the log spam in the terminal is good question. I have where is it? I have a debug callback for OpenGL. So OpenGL basically tells me anything interesting that happens, or anything it considers interesting, including errors. I don't do any filtering. I literally just accept all of them and log them as an error for some reason. Except for if it's a natural error, then I throw it. So that should probably be info. And it's doing lots of OpenGL things every frame, so it just spams the log. This has not been a problem yet, so I've just not filtered it out. But yeah, good point. But I don't know. I think multiple lights is pretty cool. I think basically now there's really not a lot of excuse to not go and do model loading on the next stream, which probably won't be Wednesday, because I think there's something happening on this coming Wednesday, which means I probably won't be able to stream. So I guess the next one might be the following week Sunday. We'll see. Keep an eye out on the YouTube channel, because that will tell you. I post on YouTube when I'm going live and stuff. Kind of at the 2-hour mark. I'm trying to think if there's anything worth doing now. I don't know. I kind of just want to play around with it. Like, I'm kind of really pleased with that. I think it's a really good result for like a couple of hours work. Right. Make these a little bit brighter. Select this one. Bring this one down. Also make this one a little bit brighter. And actually, if I add another light, This one now feels brighter again. But let's make it blue. I think you can almost see where it becomes white, like the intersection point of these. Because RGB is additive primes. Another colour theory that I pretend to know. If we get the magenta in there as well. And the yellow. Yeah, that's cool. I do like the fact that I can press F1 and actually just properly explore the scene now. I think that's really nice. It gives really good, much more control. And then just smash F1 and then be like, oh, actually, no, this light needs to be here. Needs to be here. I like these planar handles as well. I have no idea which one I've got selected now. It's the red one. Yeah. Woo. Yes, probably not. I just said that. I probably won't be streaming on the 25th. Yeah, we need to. That's a good point. We need to add the directional light and the ambient light into here. I guess we could probably just super quickly do that. That might. And how do I get like a collapsible tab in ImGui? Dear ImGui collapsible pane, is it? Is it a collapsing header? I guess we could check with this. So header name, call it the same, doesn't really matter. If ImGui does not like that. Because it's a G. Collapsing header, maybe? Header name dot cstra. Oh, of course, this Wednesday's not Christmas, it's the next one, yeah. Sorry. So probably, yes, will be this Wednesday. Sorry, I'm a week out. That is an excellent point. I probably won't be streaming on the 25th. My joke doesn't make any sense now. So I've made myself look like a right fool live to a load of people, so enjoy that. That's better. Look at that. So let's do, under this, let's do if ImGui collapsible header ambient. Then I should be able to just nick some of this. Ambient color. Gonna need to take this, and this will be at scene dot ambient. Oh, because it's underscore, isn't it? And then, actually, to be honest, I don't know why I'm setting these individually. I should just be doing the reverse std memcopy, right? Scene dot ambient, and then color, and then size of. Just guilty knowledge that I know the memory layout of the class that I wrote. I would spin the cubes, but I've not actually added rotation matrix yet. So yeah, we can now adjust like the overall color of like the baseline color for everything. So if we wanted everything to have like a sickly greenish hue, we could. We can even drop that down. Which is cool. And I guess quickly do the same for directional. Okay, so directional light is there. Doesn't have that much of an influence on it at the moment. Has a little bit of an influence. I feel like that doesn't look right to me. Like that is wrong. Surely that should apply some sort of colour. Let's just go to the fragment shader. Oh, have I done it as the position? Oh. That's funny. Oh, do I? What? Oh, I see. So it is right. Dot color. There we go. I was changing the angle. That's why it looked strange. Would I choose to pursue this object as a 3D game instead of 2D? I think this is going to be a 3D game, right? There we go. So it's now bright, just the color on one side that we're pointing. Okay, cool. I spelled color wrong. Oh, I see. Good one. I'm afraid it's all extra U's and Z's in this stream. I'm just looking up. Well, there's one thing we might do just to kind of spruce things up a little bit. Let me just find a good example. Okay, fine. Let's go to main and bring in random. Oh, I did it myself then. Gen RD. Oh. Stud uniform real distribution minus 5.0f 5.0f. Hoping it will deduce the template arguments for me, and then let's set this as minor as disgen. Oh, I need to give that a name. I don't think does a point light even have the concept of a focal point. I think it just has like attenuation. Are you thinking maybe of a spotlight? That's cool. That feels a little bit more lighty. Give ourselves a good spot to look at. And then we can move that around and then get the second color, bring this in over here, bring it down there. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that looks a lot more interesting now. Yeah, sorry, I just like dumped a load of random C++ there. Random device, which will get you, if possible, I think it's like hardware-specific random numbers. This is a pseudo-random number generator, which will take some small amount of actual entropy you have and turn it into a much larger set that still looks random. And then this basically just says, please get me, I want to turn these random numbers between an actual distribution, so uniformly between these. There's like normal distribution, Gaussian distribution, Poisson distribution, all the good distributions. I realise I've broken up my own naming convention there, so let me just fix that. Auto equals, and then this will be gen, and this will be this, and then okay, that's better. Oh, we need to shadow. I'm going to do shadows at some point. I'm probably going to put off doing shadows because they're a massive pain. I absolutely hate doing shadow mapping. I've done it before, and it is an absolute pain. It never looks great. It requires loads of weird tweaking and stuff, and I don't know, maybe. Well, this is the community post ready. So another light, which I obviously now can't see. Make it blue. One. Bring this across. Where's this one? Alright. I'll leave that up there because now I can move the mouse off and do other things. So we started off with an auto moving light. But I wanted to manually place it. So actually we kind of have gone the reverse of your suggestion because I wanted some more manual control. Alright, let's just quickly comment this up. Oh, commit this up. So what do? We added the ability to add lights, right? I think that's what we're doing. Add lights from UI. Okay, so so this is going to be stream 13. Wait, that means we've been doing this for like 26 hours now? It's like 26 hours work, it's not bad. I've just tagged the wrong one, haven't I? Oh, I do this every time. How do I untag that? Stream 13. To right, push that up. Okay. I mean, the quality of the random numbers is not important here. That's just kind of in my mind when I go to look up how to do random numbers in C++. I always just go to like the uniform real or uniform int distribution page, and then it has a good example, and then that's how I do it. Like it's better than rand. Okay, not. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day for what we're doing. We'll probably want better quality random numbers anyway if our game involves randomness. But for now, I think it's fine. I'll leave this up. I'll play with this for hours. Is it there? Can I get it? I can't get it. Come here. Come here. Right. So yeah, I think if we had like model loading and then normal maps and then a bit of a skybox, and then we'd be in a pretty good place. I think it'd probably look quite good. It's called Lazy Git. My Git, well, it's not mine, but the Git UI, the terminal end cursors, whatever you want to call it, UI client I use is called Lazy Git. Okay, right. I am gonna... No, very important distinction. I'm not making a game engine. I'm making a game. It might look a bit like a game engine at the moment, but everything I do should only really be in the service of getting us towards a game. It's going to be a very simple game. It's not going to be great, but it should be, in theory, a full end-to-end game that I can upload on itch.io or something. Yeah, I know. I need to turn backface culling off. Backface culling on. Sorry, but that's just a one-liner. We'll do that. We'll do that in the future. There's loads of optimizations we need to do. I kind of want to do might do frustum culling at some point as well. Yeah, exactly. What I'll probably do is I'll probably define some sort of scene file format in like YAML or something, and then we'll just read that in, and then I can open up Maya and put in some models, put in some lights, and then write a Python script. I've done this before to export to like a custom format that the game can then consume. So then we can just basically do stuff in Maya. But that's my current plan. But yeah. Hopefully everyone's had a good stream. Thank you very much for showing in. Oh, hang on, before we go, have I got things to give out? Add. I have gift 5 memberships. That's 5 random people to get a month worth of the YouTube subscription. You get early access to videos, a few behind the scenes content, etc., etc. And then that's on Twitch. Got 24 people. Is there anyone where should everyone go to next? Same category. Is anyone doing C++? Someone with 8 viewers doing C++ game programming. You should definitely go there and check them out. See how they're getting on. Will not let me do it. Maybe they've disabled it. Anyway. I don't know what's going on. Why am I... Don't know why this has been difficult. Hold on one moment, caller. But yeah, I don't know. I think we'll definitely look at doing model loading next time. I think that's going to be the next thing. We'll get async, and again, I'm not going to write my own library for that. We'll get async in there, and then we'll start doing it. I really wanted to do this. I don't know why it's been so difficult. It seems a real shame. Oh, was not meant to be. Anyway, hope you guys had a good one. Sorry, I was fiddling around with something. I'll catch you. I suspect the next stream will probably be Wednesday because it's not Christmas, because I got the date. I'm a week ahead of myself. But anyway, keep an eye on the channel. We'll see what's going on, and yeah, catch you guys soon. Thanks very much for coming along.